What's up, Vault Hunters? It's Echo here, Queen of the Loot Goblins, bringing you another Borderlands 3 video. On today's video, we are going to be talking about rush stacks and deep diving into every single one of Amara's skills and comms dealing with rush stacks. Now, I want to point out now that this video took me 3+ days of testing every single skill to make sure it worked, every single comm to make sure it worked, and I'm not gonna lie, I found so many discrepancies with all of the rush stacks, and it is a staple point in Amara's build. Like, you can't even get down to the next line of the mystical assault tree without putting at least 1 or 2 points into do harm or violent tapestry. So the fact that a lot of these things aren't working is really upsetting, and the PHASEZERKER is a very used comm, and I just wanted to say I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I hope you guys enjoy this video and everything that's brought with it. Alright, so with all that said, let's get right into the video. Rush stacks can be acquired through a series of Amaras skills on the mystical assault tree, or 2 of her class mods, the Stone and the PHASEZERKER. Each skill or class mod has a unique way to obtain stacks of rush. Also, once obtained and activated, these rush stacks give you unique bonuses that are used to buff up damage in some way. Now, to activate these rush skills that are acquired, simply use Amara's action skill. Now, if you're new to Amara and you didn't understand anything that I've just said, don't fret. We are going to go into literally everything, and you will know what rush stacks are and have a great understanding by the end of this video. How you know you've obtained rush stacks is there will be an icon at the bottom of your screen that looks like a shoe with wings and health crosses on it. It's that simple, and the more you acquire, the more that number will go up, capping at your max rush stacks, ranging from 10 to 25. There are 4 ways to acquire rush stacks. The first one is the skill Do Harm. By killing an enemy, you gain a stack of rush. The second way is the skill Violent Tapestry. By applying a status effect, it will grant you a rush stack. The third way is the class mod Stone. Whenever Amara is damaged, she gains a chance to gain a rush stack. And lastly, the PHASEZERKER class mod. On action skill used, Amara gains her max rush stack count. So if you're adding rush stacks to your build, you are going to have Violent Tapestry and Do Harm as skills. These skills state that the max rush stacks you can have is 10. Then if you are using the PHASEZERKER or Stone comm, that gives you a max rush stacks of +5, giving you a total of 15 so far. Then if you go all the way down to the blue capstone avatar, that gives you another bonus rush stacks of +10, giving you a grand total with all 3 of these items to 25 rush stacks. So as we talked about in the beginning of the video in our definition, how to consume your rush stacks is by simply using your action skill. So here in this example, we are using Phase Grasp and a PHASEZERKER comm. So when we Phase Grasp, it's giving us our 25 stacks back. Then when we grasp again, it's consuming them, and you can see the consumed rush stacks at the bottom of the screen. So let's now talk about the unique bonuses that you get from using rush stacks. So first I want to start out with the PHASEZERKER. Basically, we've already talked about on action skill used, Amara gains her max rush stack count, but they decay over time. Amara gains 3% weapon damage and 10% action skill cooldown rate based on the number of rush stacks. So let's assume that we are maxing out our rush stacks at 25, going all the way down to Avatar in the blue tree capstone. So with that being said, let's break this in half. Okay, so Amara gains 3% weapon damage per stack. So let's say we have 25 rush stacks, 3%, we're going to be getting a bonus weapon damage of 75%. Now the next part of it says 10% action skill cooldown rate based on the number of rush stacks. So basically that's getting 250% action skill cooldown. Now, yeah, I know that doesn't really make sense, but I'll put a formula up on the board for you right now. And basically without any points in Restless or any points in the Calm or Artifact, from an 18-second base grasp action skill, you're going to be getting it down just with the PHASEZERKER and 25 max rush stacks. You're going to be getting it down to 5.14 seconds. So now 5.14 seconds is what we should be getting. Well, I tested that and I was getting about 9 seconds. So with that in the average of rush stacks decaying, I was getting about 4.5%, not 10%, 4.5%. Then I tried, well, maybe it'll work with Slam. So I tried it with Slam, and then I was getting a 3.5% action skill cooldown rate. I did an average of the decaying stacks. Nothing was coming close to 10%. So again, we have another broken Calm on our hands. It's not 10%. You're not getting 250%. It's just broken. Having action skill cooldown on a Calm and not having to use skills for it is fantastic. I just need the numbers to be correct, please. Alright, so now let's talk about the stone. Whenever Amara is damaged, she gains a 10% chance to gain a stack of rush. For every stack of rush, Amara gains 3% damage reduction, and our max rush stacks are +5, just like the PHASEZERKER. Now, instead of getting weapon damage like the PHASEZERKER, we're getting 3% damage reduction. So that 3% damage reduction with the 25 max rush stacks is going to give us 75% damage reduction. Alright, so let's get into the skills. I want to start from the bottom of the blue tree and work my way up. So let's start with the capstone Avatar. Now, when making a build with rush stacks, Avatar is absolutely crucial because it gives you +10 more rush stacks. That's how we're getting to the number of 25. Additionally, if Mara's action skill kills an enemy, it refunds half of her rush stacks. Moving on to another skill in Amara's mystical assault tree, Awakening. Now with Awakening, if you are going to be doing a rush stack build, I would really recommend Awakening because this increases the rush stack effectiveness by 30%, and that's multiplicative with each stack. So I wanted to touch a little bit more on Awakening. Now keep in mind that Awakening only has bearing on Do Harm and Violent Tapestry. It has no bearing on Alacrity or the PHASEZERKER. So with that being said, I also want to touch on the math a little bit of Awakening. When maxed out, Do Harm's action skill damage is 4.5% per stack. When multiplying that by 30% to boost the effectiveness from Awakening, it doesn't add up to what the final card number states. So basically multiplying in decimal form, 0.045 times 0.3 equals 0.135, right? Now, let's add that together. So our Do Harm stacks at 4.5% each stack plus 1.35% effectiveness equals 5.85%. Now I know it's just a 0.05% difference and I know it's rounded up, but when doing math in this game, if you don't have the correct numbers, you're gonna get the wrong value. So I believe it's still worth it to have these points in Awakening, but just for our knowledge, the math is absolutely wrong on the card. Moving on to another skill that's affected by rush stacks in Amara's mystical assault tree, we're going to look at Alacrity. Now, with Alacrity, Amara gains increased reload speed for every stack of rush. After consuming rush stacks, this bonus is increased for a few seconds. So basically with Alacrity, you're going to get supersonic speed reload. Moving on to Violent Tapestry. Now, Violent Tapestry is all about the status effect. Applying a status effect grants Amara a stack of rush. For every stack of rush consumed, Amara's status effect chance is temporarily increased. Now, if you max this out, you're getting a 3.9% status effect per stack consumed. Keep in mind that's with Awakening already factored in. Now, 3.9% times 25 is giving you a 97.5% status effect chance. So in short, maxing out Violent Tapestry with 25 max rush stacks, you're basically going to get 100% status effect chance. Now for the last skill we're going to be talking about, and in my opinion, as an Amara main, one of her most underrated skills, Do Harm. You see, do harm gains action skill damage per rush stack consumed. Now, most people when playing Amara choose Ties That Bind for their action skill. And there's been some controversy with do harm and people not seeming to think it works with Ties That Bind. Well, if you think that, you'd be dead wrong. It works just a little unconventional, just as Ties That Bind is a little unconventional. So, to make do harm work with Ties That Bind, all you need to do is put one bullet into the enemy and you can see the results at work. So I've put together this little test for you and you can see it actually increases in action skill damage. So here we have a simple test. I've already got my rush stacks, my 10 rush stacks. We don't have any points in do harm yet. We only have 1 point in violent tapestry just to get our status effects for our rush stacks, which we already got. Our guardian rank is disabled and we have no PHASEZERKER class mod or anything else on. We're just using a Maggie and we're gonna see what the linked target's damage is. So we're just going to see if it's an increase. So our number is, I just hit it, awesome. $14.17. So that's going to be our number. So now, let me back away from these guys so they don't kill me. We're going to put 5 points in to do harm. Now, if do harm works, like I say that it works with Ties That Bind, we should see an increase of that 1417 number. Now, let's get 10 more rush stacks on. Let's put a shield on so we don't die.
Shame this is as close as you'll ever get to me.
All right, now we've got our 10 rush stacks. Let me wait for the status effect to go away. All right, so we have our rush stacks and we now have our 5 points into do harm. So let's see if that 1417 number increased. And there it is. 5241. So clearly there is an increase. Clearly do harm works with Ties That Bind. Just to put it to bed, it works. Now the things that you can do with do harm and the PHASEZERKER are insane. Here's just a little preview of my build. So we have confirmed that we can have 25 max rush stacks, and when we consume them, they appear at the bottom of your screen. But if you noticed in my previous clip, you can consume up to 99 rush stacks. Now, the question therein lies, does the consumption of more than 25 rush stacks do more damage? That answer is simple. Yes, you do more damage with each stack consumed. However, it is capped at 99. I grasped well over above 99 times and got the same values when testing. So it is not infinite. To consume more than 25 rush stacks, just put on grasp, and much like you do with the driver, fake grasp. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. It took me a lot of time and a lot of testing to complete this video. If you have any more questions, just please comment below. I try to answer all of my comments as quickly as possible. Please take a moment right now and hit that like button. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you want to catch these videos live, you can find me at twitch.tv/JadedEcho_, or subscribe to my YouTube channel and be up to date with each video.